Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for the Naval Extreme. This is the second Extreme Primal encounter made available as of patch 2.1 in Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Awoken. As with Titan Hard, this encounter relies heavily on a set pattern of events that you can vary slightly based on your overall raid DPS, but the basic premise is simple. Once you become familiar with that pattern, you'll have them down in no time. Who am I kidding? I won't lie to you. This encounter can be quite unforgiving and requires everyone to play perfectly. Anyone new to this or even attempting it in a blind pug may encounter some difficulty, but again, once you get into that flow of things, he's really not that hard. All you can do is play to the best of your own ability and hope that nobody else screws up. And that can pretty much be said for any encounter. My number one absolute tip for Titan Extreme is learning how to stack and moving as a group. While other encounters sometimes call for this sort of grouping, a tight stack on Titan can make the world of a difference, especially with the limited amount of room you have to work with. Before we go into the mechanics of the first phase, I'm going to quickly talk about Mountain Buster and the tank swap mechanic. In Extreme mode, Titan will cast Mountain Buster throughout the entire fight. It does a little bit less damage than the hard mode, but it occurs more and more frequently. In addition, each Mountain Buster will place a stacking debuff on the tank. In our group, we provoke off each other at 3 stacks of the debuff, and with the timing of the fight, this happens at a very specific point in each respective phase for our group. I do need to stress that the timing can be different depending on your own raid group's DPS. Tanks and healers should pay attention to where Mountain Buster lands within Titan's rotation and use appropriate abilities before and after it hits. We begin phase 1 with a landslide. This is the same ability you've seen in the hard mode. It'll target a random player and do a massive pushback. After you dodge the telegraph, it's important that the group stacks up behind it. This is where you'll start working as a team. Titan will then cast plumes. For every plume, the group will dodge to the left. Everything we're doing here is in preparation for the last phase. Once you're clear of the plume, run back to your spot. Next up, Tumult. Healers, be ready with your AoE heals. The only difference here is that it'll do a bit more damage. However, since everyone is stacked up, healing through it will be no problem. Phase 1 will continue until you reach around 90%. At this point, he will leap into the air and cast geocrush. We like to stack on the tank in the north for shields and heals. You'll notice that a massive portion of the platform instantly disappears. Getting hit by a landslide from here on out will result in instant death, so be very careful not to do so. To add salt to the wound, Titan Landslide will now branch into 3 separate landslides, all 3 of which you'll have to dodge. Again, stacking behind him helps trivialize this. Titan will only aim the middle landslide at one person, and the outer landslides will branch out in relation to that middle section. Since the entire group is standing right behind him, you know that the middle section of the landslide will land right behind him, and the outer landslides are stuck in a fixed position, making it really easy to dodge. Up next, we have Jails. Titan will target 2 people for Jails. One is guaranteed to be a healer, and the other a DPS. The 2 Jails need to be separated enough until the chain breaks. If they land too close to one another, they'll have a damage reduction debuff that makes them very difficult to break. The DPS Jail will stack right behind Titan, while the healer Jail will move to the outer edge of the platform a little to the left of the center line. I'll explain why in just a moment. At the same time, Titan will begin to cast Upheaval, a deadly knockback effect if you're not positioned appropriately. To avoid getting punted off the platform, everyone needs to stand directly underneath his bum. Stand too far and you'll fall off the platform. Stand close enough to be considered in front of him and you'll be knocked off the front of the platform. It's not really as delicate as I'm describing it, but this is a silly thing to die to, so take care. Use your top-down camera to make sure you're right up his butt. While you're positioned correctly under Titan, everyone should focus on the DPS Jail, breaking them out as soon as possible. With our timing, this happens moments before we all get punted backwards from Upheaval. Immediately after Upheaval, Titan will cast Landslide. Again, since most of the raid has been punted backwards right behind him, chances are the landslide will be aimed directly to the south. Remember how the healer moved a little to the left of that center line? This was to avoid this particular landslide and allow the DPS to break them free without having to worry about getting caught in it. Once this landslide is cast, the group moves back to their original position. Note that somewhere in that cluster of mechanics, the tanks have swapped as well, so healers be ready to heal the new tank. Titan will cast Tumult, then Plumes, and then Mountain Buster. Landslide again, another Plume, and then your first set of bombs. This bomb pattern will cover one half of the platform in whatever orientation Titan so chooses. Obviously, stand on the safe side to avoid those blasts. Again, tanks can easily eat one bomb with a cooldown if necessary. Another landslide during the bombs and a third Mountain Buster on the active tank leads us into the next set of Jails. Again, break out the DPS while under his butt, get punted backwards, wait for that landslide, and break out the healer. This phase repeats until about 50%, at which point Titan will leap up, cast geocrush, and take us into the hard phase. The raid will stack behind him, dodge a plume, and handle the jails and upheaval as usual. The main difference from here on out is that landslide will now sprout into 5 total landslides, but the mechanic is still the same. After the landslide, stack back up, heal through the tumult, dodge the plumes. The next set of bombs will spawn in the circle pattern. Mark up the first one to spawn so that the raid knows where to run once it's safe. Titan will of course cast another landslide while the bombs are up, so take care to dodge that before moving into the safe position once the bombs start to detonate. This part of the fight is a DPS check. Although I don't show it here, if your DPS is a little slower, you'll have one more tumult and one more set of plumes to kill the heart before he obliterates everyone. The faster you kill the heart, the more mechanics you get to avoid completely, so burn as fast as possible. Once the heart is down, Titan will leap up again and cast Earth and Fury. Again, stack up for shields and heals. This is where the fun begins. Titan will spawn 2 granite jailer adds, one in the west and one in the east. The off-tank needs to immediately pick these up and move them to one of the edges. If they are too close to Titan, they will all gain a determination buff. You're already dealing with a ton of damage, so avoiding this is best. We take the adds to the east. Once killed, the adds will leave a large puddle of sludge on the platform. Since we dodge all the plumes to the left, we drop the goo to the right so as not to interfere with that. There's a lot of stuff happening here, so let's try to break it down a bit. Bombs will spawn right after the adds do in a new and exciting pattern. First, a cross or plus sign of bombs will spawn at the cardinal points. The next set of bombs will spawn in an X pattern in between the first set. This is one of the more difficult sets of bombs to dodge as it's easy to get confused. We have someone mark up the southernmost bomb of the plus pattern and have the raid stand just outside of that. Once the plus pattern explodes, the raid runs to the marked spot and waits for the X pattern to detonate. The tough part, as always, comes from dodging the landslide during these bombs. While this is happening, the DPS is also focusing down the adds. What we like to do is limit break the adds here to get them down as fast as possible. The adds have their own landslides that are cast directly in front of them, so tanks be sure to keep them facing outwards. The add tank should take care to pop any cooldowns as necessary. It's more important to keep the adds facing away from the group and positioned properly, especially if they're about to die, than it is to dodge bombs. Obviously, if you can do it safely, go for it, but remember that you can always easily survive the bomb detonations if you have no other choice. To keep up with everything, I'd advise being able to down the adds before the next set of jails goes out. There is one more plume before Titan casts these jails, and this is roughly around the time when the active tank will be getting another 3 stacks of Mountain Buster. Obviously, the add tank needs to be free to provoke at this point. Handle the jails and upheaval as usual, avoid that landslide, heal through the tumult, and get ready for a fancy plume set. This double plume is just what the name implies. You'll spawn the usual set of plumes on your stack behind Titan, and then immediately spawn another set on the left side. This is easy to handle. Move left, move right. After the double plume, you'll be faced with a familiar bomb pattern. Line bombs, the middle row will always burst first, so it's just a matter of standing on the last row that's spawned and moving to the middle once it's safe. Easy peasy. Avoid the landslide as usual. A tank swap is coming up followed by super bombs. This is a new bomb pattern that gives you no natural safe spot. In fact, you have to make your own safe spot. What we do is run to the back of the platform and start DPSing the southernmost bomb. We target the same bomb every time because every second counts. You need to destroy this bomb before it bursts or suffer heavy damage. Instead of the landslide here, Titan will try to trick you and cast plumes instead. But you're a vigilant raider and have no problem handling this. Once you kill the bomb, Titan will leap up and cast geocrush, stack for heals and shields, and repeat. The rest of the phase is the exact same thing starting with the ad spawns. So if you've made it this far, I have confidence that you can do it all over again. Titan does have a harden range of about 10 minutes, so be sure to go hard in the paint in all phases. The one thing I can say about this fight is that it takes quite a bit of practice. Once you learn the rotation and can anticipate what comes next, it'll get easier and easier. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Up next, we'll move on to Ifrit Extreme. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.
Rock provoke. You have to include that into the video.
I know. Don't do this.
That scares me
See,
every
you
time.
left it
No, that's such bullshit.
There's your mono wall, new.
It's fine.
I got him.
this. Cats. Careful.
Alright.
Wipe it.
Yeah, that's your hard casting.
What's about internet?
Okay, make it this way response.
Oh!
They're pretty close.
Oh, so weird.
That's a problem.
Nice taunt on the
Whoops.
jail.
kind of hard to know where to go when
When I'm meat spinning the boss.
jumping all around. Kind of, yeah.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh, someone.
Oh,
2 people. Uh-oh. Them scores.
Upheaval. What?
What the crap?
What?
Stack under him.
uh,
Oh, okay.
Is that the
That's the
is that the rage?
Yeah. Progress.